Hello, friends, and welcome into the Loochador Podcast, brought to you by our good friends at Academy Sports and Outdoors as A&M defeats Utah State 44-22.
Academy.
The right deal, the right... Wait, what is it again?
Sports and Outdoors.
But there was the right price,
The right deal, the right price.
There you go. Running shoes for you?
No, actually. We're going in. I told you we're going back in for some camping gear for the bye week. So we're going.
It's coming up soon?
Yeah.
2 weeks?
Yeah, so gotta go get that. Maybe it might be cooling off up there. I might need some kind of jacket, all-weather gear, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Whatever it takes. Academy has it.
So, Billy, this was my take at postgame when I did the postgame wrap with the guys. When the game mattered, the part of the game that mattered, A&M dominated, 30-6. Look, are there some things that I wish they would have cleaned up? Absolutely. But there was a lot of questions we went into this game having, like, they're not going to be answered until Notre Dame.
Yeah.
But we didn't want to see a team run on A&M, and they did not run on A&M. Offensively, Marcel was efficient again. He's got 7 touchdowns in the air this year. He's got 1 rushing touchdown. He's been efficient, and he says on KC's Instagram he'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be there at Notre Dame. Overall, I feel like the part that mattered, they did wonderful. I was fine with it.
Yeah, it just these games are so tough. I'm ready for them to be over with. I don't mind the Samford game late. I don't love it. I wish once you get going, it's like, let's go. I've never been a big fan of it, but the whole SEC does it. It's fine, but I'm just ready. Like, these games suck for, you saw Trey Zune leave the game and not come back. You saw Marcel Reed leave the game and not come back. Now, we're going to have a whole week of speculation and stuff, but I think Marcel's fine from everything from his tweet to just anything you've heard or seen. His dad, Rod, was it his Instagram Live or whatever? And then his dad, Rod Reed, tweeted something about he was fine. And everything I've heard, I think Marcel could have come back in if the game needed it. It was like a SEC game. So, but I mean, I'm optimistic on Zune too. But you see those guys leave and not come back, it's like, man, these are scrimmages, really. UTSA wasn't, but only because they're kind of an outlier. Florida's playing South Florida right now. That's above a scrimmage. UTSA was above a scrimmage. But games like this, Georgia's playing one today, Texas played one today. Most of the SEC are playing scrimmages. And it's the only thing that can really happen is bad. And if A&M, they won 44-22, if they would have won this game 58-14, you still don't. There's nothing they could have done today to make me go, wow, they're really ready for Notre Dame. They're going to go beat them. There are some things that concern me about Notre Dame. I just still don't. And Auburn right after that, I still don't see a just really physical at the point of attack defense, running downhill, smacking running backs, intimidating wide receivers. I did love seeing them get to the quarterback 6 times, and really the way they did it. When they were pursuing the quarterback, they were flying back there. It was super impressive what Cassius Howell did on that drive. Not just that he sacked him 3 times, but he looked really explosive and too much for an offensive tackle to handle. I loved what I saw from Scooby Williams, but I just still I'm not. And I know they held him in check, but Utah State went on an early drive of 75 yards for a touchdown. Okay, I get it. They play one game, you have 4 quarters of tape, they come out but 75 yards. I know you had the personal foul to really kind of get it going.
Yep.
And then their other touchdown drive to start the third quarter, you had a personal foul, hands to the face. And I don't fault Albert Reed, just plays hard as hell. But, he got flagged, and A&M got the benefit of a couple of those hands to the face during the game. But hands to the face, both their touchdown drives were helped by 15-yard penalties. I thought the second penalty on the second touchdown drive was kind of BS.
The Will Lee one.
Will Lee.
Yep.
But again, they come out to start the third quarter, and they first play, they rip you for 30. And then they go down the field, and they score a touchdown. That's another 75-yard drive. So I'm just not there yet with the defense. They gave up 2 75-yard drives to Utah State. So I came away like just – but I also know that they looked better this week defensively. Yeah. They got after the quarterback. They, like you said, they didn't get gashed by the run at all. I mean, they really generally choked off the run. They finished with 78 yards. But, I mean, they had a running back go for 50. They padded some stats late, too. By the way,
Davis had that 30-yard run. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was their one really, like, legitimately big run of the game.
Third quarter.
Yeah. I think it was the first play.
Yeah.
So,
again.
So, yeah, I mean, that was an improved defensive effort, without question. But 2 75-yard drives to Utah State, that doesn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy as we're going to play Notre Dame, just lying in wait after a bye week. But I did see the defense take a step. And I'm ready to see this defense, though, whether it works out or not. I'm ready to see them play more conventional. Hey, we're a top 15 team. Or we're Notre Dame, we're a top 10 team. You guys are a top 20 team. Let's line up and play some football like they did against Miami a week ago. Like A&M needs to get in one of those games. And I don't think you know until you know. And so that's why I'm not super down on the defense, but I just wish I felt better. Again, I don't mind that they had some late touchdown, but I just would have liked it. And they're converting 2-point conversions, not once, but twice. There's just some things I didn't like seeing.
A kick.
They missed a field goal. They missed an extra point. Like you said, penalties, personal fouls on 2 of their 3 touchdown drives. They let them go 75 to start the third quarter. There wasn't like I was like, get this game over with.
Yeah.
Now, if I sound negative, I probably am a little bit, but it's not like
it's not ultra negative.
No, it's just I'm sitting here going, they're just gonna. I guess what I'm saying, honestly, is they're gonna have to play a hell of a lot better a week from now, or they're gonna be 0-1 in games that matter, with a really hard schedule ahead of them. But there's a flip side to that, and that flip side goes like this. We're doing this, full disclosure, we're doing this on Saturday. I don't know if we're trying to trick y'all into thinking we're doing it Sunday. You looked at me.
Clothes.
You looked at me when I started saying
the game's going on.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. As we're sitting here, and a lot of this will change by tonight, and some of these games
this will run Sunday morning.
Some of these games will be blowouts, but Ole Miss started out in a dogfight against a bad Kentucky team. At least that's an SEC team. Georgia's up 14-3 over, was it Kent State?
Austin P,
14-3. Imagine how we're feeling if at halftime, no matter what the final is. Hey, but at halftime, we were only up 14-3 against Austin P. Imagine like the Kyle Field crowd and the grumbling.
Clemson was losing to Troy before the rain delay.
Clemson was losing to Troy. What was the final of that one?
They're still in the rain delay as of right now.
So Clemson, so then that makes you go, well, what about LSU? Or was that impressive? Texas today, anybody that watched some of that realizes, like, forget about Arch's statistics. He still doesn't look, him and their pass catchers, it doesn't look like anything close to what you saw from them last year. And I know they started their game like San Jose drove down, missed a field goal. Texas, I think either 2 or 3 of their first 3 drives were non-productive drives. So it's that time of year. But we're talking about A&M. So we're sitting here talking about the Aggies, and it's like, I would like them to look cleaner and more dominant. Like, I felt like we were going to have that conversation. And I'm not being hard on them, but I'm just like, when they went and got the ball back before halftime, up, was it 24-6, and they got to stop defensively, quick one. They got the ball back, and they went right down the field. Marcel, the pass catchers, everybody did their part. And I went, okay, you had just had Le'Veon Moss bust through for a touchdown, I think the drive before. And, they score there to cap it off with a TD, not a field goal, touchdown.
Yep.
Then they missed an extra point. But 30-6 at halftime, executing that 2-minute drill the way they did, I went, okay, just come out and blow the doors off these guys in the second half. Get your starters out of there, and we'll feel great about this game. Would it have made me feel better about them beating Notre Dame? No. It wouldn't have. That's the thing.
You just felt better for today.
But you let them go 75, and then you punted, when you got the ball back, and you just kind of let it drag out. So I just think it was just kind of do I feel better 2 weeks in than I did 1 week in? Probably. I mean, I think UTSA was pretty good as we speak, too. They're in a dogfight. The Henry guy just went 75 yards on the first play of the third quarter again against Texas State down there in San Antonio. So I walked off the field today being like, if Marcel and Zune are okay, then I feel better about the team even today because the receivers did it again. They did it again. Marcel's been sacked now, once in 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was decisive in running the ball. The ground game looked a lot better. The running game
Le'Veon had very nice game.
Le'Veon 6.8 per carry.
10 carries, 68 yards. Marcel 10 for 66.
He had 68 also. And then, even Morrow had an explosive.
Morrow looks really explosive.
He's going to look. I'm just telling you, that guy's on a fast track up this depth chart. He's that good. Amari had a nice run. Ruben had a nice run.
EJ Smith had a nice run.
EJ gets downhill, man. So look at this. EJ, 11. Morrow, 22. Owens, 18. Reed, 24. Moss, 21.
Which would have been longer. It was a touchdown.
Every one of those guys had runs over 10 yards. That's really, I think they took a big step forward in the run game. Miles O'Neill, mixed bag. Awful. I mean, first of all, you get thrown in the game. Never really played. Awful interception. I don't even know what that was.
I don't know who he was throwing to.
It was just crazy. When he threw it, I thought it was a wide open receiver because it was just so open. I even forgot what color jersey it had. I was like, well, he's so confident throwing that to him. But then came back with a freaking beautiful pass, which I think showed a lot. Him coming back in after that pick and then throwing that touchdown. That was beautiful, and it was good to see that offense produce a massive play like that over the top. Because like I've been saying, you're going to see a lot more of that this year. So it was good to see them do that. And Craver and Concepcion they're insanely good. And then kind of a low key guy that I think I might almost give an MVP to today. I mean, you could either go Marcel. How many total yards, Marcel? He's closing in on 300 again, right? Yeah. Yeah, he was close to 300. Counted for 4 touchdowns again. So what's he got?
286.
7. He's got 7 touchdowns in 2 games without a turnover.
7 passing touchdowns and a
rushing touchdown. He got that one today. So 8 touchdowns without a turnover. He's been sacked once. He's been a field general.
Yeah.
I love the 2-minute drill by him today. That was I call these as like a scrimmage. That was a good scrimmage moment right there. But man, Terry Bussey today. He got things going with the touchdown. 4 catches for 55 yards. And then as a return man, now he had a 45-yard kickoff return. But let's not forget, he also had another one.
Callback.
That would have been, he would have had 2 45, 50-yard kickoff returns. That one was called back. And again, there's another penalty. So your first drive of the game, you could have the ball at midfield. Instead, you have it at the 10-yard line. So they got to clean that kind of stuff up because they're not going to be good enough, David, to overcome that against good teams. But they are good enough to beat. I'm looking at every team they play, and Clemson's result pending. I'm looking at every team they play. I'm going, they're not great. Missouri, they're tied with Kansas. They had to go. They went 90 yards on 2 plays against a woefully miserable Kansas prevent defense just to tie the game at halftime against them. So I don't think they're playing murderer's row, and I don't think Notre Dame is last year's Notre Dame. And so that's probably where I'm like, I wish I felt like
better,
just more bullish about everything, because there's a real opportunity for this team. But you're also facing two daunting tests now back to back in Notre Dame and Auburn. You play like you have so far, you will go 0-2 in those games. You play offense like you've been doing, and they did this to this, and you take another step forward and then you use that bye week, and they can go 2-0. And that's where like I think the tension and angst is that probably Mike Elko is probably feeling right now too, is you know the opportunity ahead of you, but you also know this team has to play better, particularly on defense. I guess the good news is, to me, they took a step. They definitely took a step forward, but they're also playing an offense that wasn't close to what they saw a week ago. Not that UTSA is like anything they'll see in the SEC, but they're veteran.
They're good.
Return the whole O-line, Owen McCown, running back. Yeah, I mean, so, we're going into this one, Dave, and it's such an opportunity to go into South Bend, play on NBC at night. I wish Notre Dame had to play a game today.
Yeah.
I wish they got banged up unnecessarily. You know, I wish they're playing against a team where, you know, the goal is to get your starters out as quick as possible. And sometimes it doesn't work out that way. So this is why, like, as we come in here and talk about these, it's almost like nothing good can come out of them. But on the flip side, even when it does go good, it's very hard to project how that looks versus this giant step up in competition that they're about to take.
So one thing that I'm monitoring, Billy, I'm not like super worried yet, but they haven't got a pick. They did force a turnover at the end of the game. Same with Pemba. Congrats on that strip sack, but there have been no interceptions yet.
Well, and also, you know, hopefully Mpemba will start playing. You know, he does that. Maybe he does it again. He starts playing. But again, that was the guy that caused that doesn't play a lot.
Right.
So your starters in 2 games haven't forced a turnover, right? And they did force a fumble down there inside the red zone, and then, you know, Utah State player fell on it. They got 6 sacks. That's how you force turnovers and takeaways. And they got a couple tip balls that drew Uznaz from the crowd where you thought maybe they might get picked. So they're getting closer. But, yeah, I mean, I think, David, and I'm with you, like, this defense is it's not going to be I've learned to never say never in this, like, especially these games, man. Like, I'm telling you, if you just think that because of these 2 games they can't beat Notre Dame, then you don't watch a lot of college football, and you didn't watch and see the holes that Notre Dame had. And you know, it's the same thing with Notre Dame coming in here last year and then losing a week later to Northern Illinois. It's like these teams, including A&M, are not that good early in the season. And Notre Dame Marcus Freeman probably thinks they're not that good right now.
Yeah.
He's probably going, I wish we could have one more game to get ready for A&M. I'm sitting here going, I wish you would have too, because maybe you'd have got some guys banged up. So I know not to say that, but I don't think this defense is going to be like, and they might have weeks where they might have some great games this year against SEC teams, but just week in and week out, I don't think it's going to be like a dominant defense. So what they're going to have to be, to me, is an opportunistic defense.
Yeah.
And that's why when I say I want to see them flying around, swarming, I want to see guys, you know, playing downhill through ball carriers and would-be pass catchers, and just with a little more physicality and aggression. And they had some plays this week where they showed that. And I think more so than the week before. So from that standpoint, and that's opponent notwithstanding, I just thought they got a little better in those departments. And a lot of that comes with confidence. So, yeah, I mean, but I think this is going to need to be a turnover forcing defense because we might see some bend. They're going to have to be like bend but don't break, but also a turnover forcing group. So only producing one with your, backup units in there through 2 games. I definitely, I think I said before the game, I wanted to see them force 2 or 3 turnovers. So yeah, it's not optimal yet.
One thing I was actually, I like seeing that they were a little more balanced offensively. Not that I don't want the big strike, but they showed it was a very balanced game. And then they did have the big strikes. But for the most part, you passed for 319, you rushed for 235. It was very, especially in the first half, very balanced.
Yeah, I like seeing some big strikes. And Marcel had some down the field throws too. So, I mean, Concepcion had a 15-yarder. Craver, obviously Bussy with that touchdown. Bethel Roman for 25. You had some down the field vertical throws by Marcel that were nice. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was the running game. There wasn't like a 75-yarder to skew the stat. So really, the only stat skewer, and it was a good one. Obviously, you're not complaining. Was a 72-yard catch, and they're almost like perfect balance. Look, the offense went for 550. They produced 44 points through what? Like, your starting quarterback left the game in the third quarter, and you'd produced what we got here. You came, so midway through the third, you're at 37 points. And had Marcel stayed in, it's probably just being realistic, 2 more touchdowns.
I don't think you throw that interception in the middle of the field.
Yeah, it's probably 2 more touchdowns. O'Neal came in and got you 1. You're probably a 50-point game, and they were close to 600 yards. Nothing to complain about the offense other than it was just kind of like it was a meh start to the game through 3 drives. I think they had 1 touchdown, punt. What was the drive total there? I think it was just a little. They might have had a touchdown, a punt, and a field goal. So it's not worth complaining about there.
No, and that was the other thing I was going to say. They could have had 48 points.
Yeah, touchdown, punt, field goal, and then a touchdown.
If it wasn't for a couple, are you concerned at all about what you're seeing from special teams offensively, kicking and extra points?
Yeah. I mean, I know. I don't want to say that. Hey, Zirkle hit a nice field goal. And then he clanked one off the upright. And then I wish Bond would have come in and hit that one. It's a 50-yarder though, but no, I'm not. I wouldn't say that. I think that
not concerned.
I just wish Bond for Bond having lost that job and to come in and get an opportunity for his confidence sake. I would have rather seen him. I mean, we all would rather, but I mean, I thought, man, I wanted him to hit that one. But Zirkle drilled the one from 37. So no, I'm not. I think special teams have been really good through 2. I mean, I think that's an understatement. I think special teams have been. If you did the ledger on good, bad, they've been pretty spectacular through 2 games.
Let's do the ledger. Questions coming into the season on the secondary. I still think it's a TBD like most of these things, but
encouraged,
right?
For sure. Again, even today, look, they hit a deep throw down. They hit a couple deep throws down the side. I'll tell you what I don't like is this backup defense coming in and just getting ravaged for 2 games down the field. Javon Thomas has had a couple tough throws on him there, but Elko's pissed there towards the end at that defense and came out, and they got to stand afterwards. And then Pemba got the sack and the forced fumble, so they responded. But yeah, I feel much better about the secondary.
Linebackers probably where you were, right? Nothing. I
thought Scooby had a good game. Scooby was flying around like I want to see today. Yeah. He was like playing fast, kind of destroying things when he hit them. I liked what I saw from him. Lockhart made a play or 2 that caught my
eye. Defensive line or just the rush defense. One game not great. Next game pretty good.
Yeah. Second game better. It's run defense. It's not just the D line. It's
run defense.
It's the safeties. It's the
everybody involved.
It's the linebackers. It's the whole deal. Yep.
Offensive line through 8 quarters.
Fine with it. I mean, I here's the deal about offensively too. They're not doing much of anything that they're going to do against Notre Dame and Auburn. They're going. That is the good thing about playing these teams. You're going out of your way to not show these teams stuff. And some of the things you're showing are to purposefully take them in a different direction. This is a chess match early on in the season. So the fact that A&M's offense has done some things that really catch your attention is even more encouraging when you realize like kind of who they're playing and what they're doing and who's on the horizon, the immediate horizon.
Then through 8 quarters, running game. When they want to run, they run well.
I feel like I thought I would feel about all of this, except, well, including run defense.
That was your question.
And if they would have just, and again, they were much better this week, even though the yards it never looked like they were just busted pops, you know.
Right.
Maybe that first play of the third quarter would be the only one. But everything I've seen so far is kind of what I expected. I would have just liked them to kind of be cleaner, to just be a little more dominant for their own confidence level, maybe for our own confidence level. If we're fans and stuff, and you're being honest,
yeah.
If you're being a media and you're sitting here, man, it's a lot more fun when these teams are winning. But they could have just completely put Utah State away, you know, to start the third quarter and didn't. No one ever thought Utah State was coming back, but just kind of drug that out because it wasn't just clean, crisp. And then in that first game, you know, if you just don't give up a 75-yard run to start the third quarter, I think you're pretty comfortable all night. I mean, they cut it to 21-17. You went up 28-17, 35. Imagine if it's 28-10. You feel like the game's over. 35-10, blowout. 42-10. You know, like that. If you just didn't give up that run, that's a dominant, clean second half. So they're close. I'm not saying they're close to kicking the crap out of lesser teams, and they're close to where we'd be feeling like, okay, let's line them up against somebody good. They're ready. As it stands right now, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about them lining up against Notre Dame's run game. And then offensively, I'm like, yeah, give me 10 and 60 out there, and I'll actually feel pretty good about their ability to move the ball and stuff. But they're going to have stretches and drives against Notre Dame and Auburn where even a good offense and even a good O-line and running it, you're going to be doing some punting. And so that defense is going to have to hold up. And it's just a big, glaring TBD right now.
And then the last one for you. I feel very encouraged what I've seen so far from Marcel Reed.
Yeah, I do. And I mean, look, everybody wants to nitpick Marcel. It was good to see the fans really rallying behind him today, the students and stuff, because why not? Why not rally on your quarterback that threw 2 games? And I'm talking about inconsistencies and not, you know, up and down and not. But here's a quarterback, though, that's counted for 8 TDs without a turnover. And I think probably right around, I bet if you did the math, 600 yards in 2 games. He's basically averaging 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, really through about 3 quarters of each. You know, He came out a little before the 4th this week. I think he played a drive into the 4th or 2 last week. So probably 6 quarters of football for Marcel Reed, essentially. 6 quarters, 600 yards, 8 touchdowns, no turnovers. Again, we're not. People get it's like not defensive because no one's criticizing. It's like this weird thing of like you push back against praise. So It's like the opposite of defensive. It's like there's just no reason for it. But like no one's sitting here saying, "Hey, this guy through 2 weeks looks like a Heisman Trophy winner."
He does that next week against Notre Dame, then we change the conversation.
Hey, you go for 300 plus and 3 touchdowns without a turnover in South Bend, Indiana. You're starting to go, okay, you know, this is why I didn't want to make too big a deal of it this week, other than say we disagree. Hey, SEC Milot, what are your quarterback standings this week? Hey, national talking heads, what do you think now? But he's got it. The bridge to today to doing that, like you gotta have a great week of practice. You got to go into South Bend against the first real defense you're going to face this year. They're going to be coming at you, and you're going to have to perform. And by the way, you're going to have to get help from your defense as well. If all those things come together, then we're having a completely different conversation. And I'm not going to sit here, David, and say that can't. I would like to have had 8 quarters of like dominant defense. Where we're going, damn line. But even then, I would be saying they haven't seen anything like the next 2 opponents offensively, and I would be saying we seem fairly small in the front 7, and I want to see how they hold up against the power and the consistent ground attack of Notre Dame.
Yeah,
and when I say that, I'm not saying they can't.
You just want.
We don't know. My confidence level, if it's here, it would have been here if we'd see 8 dominant quarters so far. Okay, but it's not. It's not like the confidence is on the floor right now. Right. They just. Again, I also think playing against an offense like Notre Dame that's just going to say, "Let's put the ball down and go." That helps too. UTSA did nothing to put McCown in harm's way. And the one play they did, he got sacked. Utah State was like, whatever, we're going to run our stuff. 6 sacks, 3 in a row, 6 sacks, a couple forced fumbles. That quarterback probably needs an ice bath when he gets back to Logan, Utah this week. But again, I think I'm glad these games are over with. I'm ready to see this team, and we're going to find out what we need to find out. And then we can regroup. And if they beat Notre Dame, it's a whole, we have a lot to talk about. If they lose close, you start trying to break it down on the SEC schedule. Yeah. Who's looking like what through 3 weeks after that. And if they go up there and they do some of the things defensively that we've seen these 2 weeks, and they give up a lot of points to a team that doesn't typically put up a lot of points, then I would be a lot more concerned. But I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I can't wait to get up there and see it on Saturday night in South Bend. What a cool opportunity this is for the Aggies. And it's a little bit of payback, too.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm these dudes, like, they didn't embarrass you last year, but they came into your house and beat you. You both rolled up your sleeves. You got in the middle of the ring and you slugged it out for 12 rounds, and they beat you in the 12th round. They were like the better man. They were better
in the 4th.
They delivered the knockout punch with a couple minutes left in that one. So to me, if I'm Torian York, if I'm Armaje, if I'm Zune, if I'm, DeSantis, if I'm Scooby Williams, any of these guys that were on that team and played a role. Bryce Ratcliffe played a lot in that game. Dalton Brooks say, I got kicked out after one play. They should be hungry to go out there and really prove something. And not to mention, what an awesome opportunity it is. It's not just for Mike Elko and this program, but it's for these individuals too.
Great. Like,
you want to go stand out, go do what the Miami defensive end did. Or go do like McDaniel, the receiver that went up and snagged a one-handed touch. Like, make plays against a team that, quite frankly, it's not like they're overwhelming you with talent. This is, once again, both teams are going to go out there and A&M, just roll your sleeves up and say, let's go. Let's go. And you can make a real statement nationally where this game right here and whatever happened against UTSA, that doesn't matter at all. And, in fact, after today, doesn't matter at all. So we'll talk to Elko on Monday. Hopefully he'll reinforce kind of what he said in the post-game presser. He said both those guys are going to play. And I want to see A&M go up there at full strength and see what they got against the Fighting Irish. It's a big game also, by the way, for the SEC.
Yeah.
Got a couple big ones going on today. Mississippi State and Arizona State. You got you don't need to do a score recap because it's going to be so dated by But you got a couple big ones today with Mississippi State, Arizona State, Kansas, and Missouri. Those in particular.
Oh, my gosh.
What?
Troy's up 16-0 as we're recording this.
Yeah, I mean.
We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah,
Too early.
I watched A&M trail McNeese State 16-0. And then, in fact, I think I could be wrong here, but I think I've watched A&M trail McNeese, and this is a good lesson wrap up here. I'm pretty sure. Look up. Type in Texas A&M McNeese State football 2000. Type in Texas A&M football schedule 2001. Or 2000. 2001. Because
38-24 A&M win.
okay, timeout. Stop there. They were down 16-0 to McNeese in that game. Who'd they play the next week?
I got to go to their schedule. That's going to take me a second.
Well, that's what I think they played Notre Dame the next week and beat them. Now, this was not a top 10 Notre Dame team. This was a Carlisle Holiday-led Notre Dame team, but my point is my point.
All right, I've got their schedule
Okay,
right
let's
here.
see it. Let's hear it.
McNeese State, they won 38-24 the next week. Wyoming.
Okay, then the next week.
Oklahoma State.
Then the next week.
Notre Dame, 24-3 victory.
Okay, they did. They played Notre Dame in game 4.
Yeah.
After a big interesting. Okay, my point being,
You had a rough start.
they were down 16-0 to a McNeese in one of those non-conference games. And if I'm not mistaken, they also struggled against Wyoming. What
Wyoming
was that?
was a 28-20
28-20,
game,
yeah. They did not look that good. I think, as a matter of fact, the next game, Oklahoma State, was the red, white, and blue
21
game at Kyle Field. And they beat Oak State, and then they beat Notre Dame. So, again, I think what I feel like this team's going to be, if they're a winning football team, like if they do some things this year that get people's attention, and I mean people outside of College Station, they're going to just have to do it the hard way. They're going to have to grind it out. They're going to win games in the fourth quarter. They're going to have to be an opportunistic defense, and they're going to have to. There's part of me, though, David, I do think this could be a team that can move the ball and score points against good defenses.
Yeah.
I really do. Again, everything I thought heading into this year through 2 games is how I think today. I just wish I had a little more a little more optimism on the run defense. Like, man, they choked out 2 teams. Nothing special, but they completely choked them out. And that hasn't been the case. But so I'm still where I'm at with it. But again, that's kind of what I expected so far, and I'm telling you, this schedule it's a really tough schedule, but there are not dominant football teams on it. And the next 2 teams they play, they're not dominant football teams. They're good. Auburn's good, I believe. You saw Baylor today went and beat SMU up there. Not that they're a juggernaut, but it tells me that Baylor's not trash. Even though the defense looked like it against Auburn.
And initially in that game, too.
But first play. But you're playing Notre Dame and Auburn, and it's a tremendous opportunity for Mike Elko, for Marcel Reed, and for this program. And man, it's just we talk about this. We really want to see an A&M team take advantage. And it might be, if you beat Notre Dame and they're 0-2, might be a 9-3 Notre Dame team that's not in the playoff. It might be you beat Auburn. It might be an Auburn team that finishes 7-5. Yeah, I mean, if A&M beats them and they might be 7-5 in the conference, 8-4. In other words, I don't feel like you're necessarily going to accomplish something truly special, but it would be 2 massive steps in the right direction. And as you keep playing, no one really cares. Because if you're in the SEC, you get to 9 wins, you're probably in the conversation. Half the 9-win teams are probably in it, the other half aren't. If you get to 10, you're in the playoff.
Yep.
Almost for sure. So nobody cares whether Notre Dame lost 3 and Auburn lost 4. But that's why I'm saying I don't think these are sensational teams. But I also haven't seen enough from A&M to make me think they're a sensational team either. So it's just like, you're going to have a couple coin flips coming up, and it's just like, how bad do these guys want it? Can they win a rock fight up in South Bend next weekend? and then can they come back at Kyle and get into a little bit of a shootout with Auburn? I don't know. It's just we don't have answers. I think kind of the same questions persist, but there are some things to be encouraged by. The playmakers on offense. I think Marcel Reeves' performance 2 games in. The O-line looks like what we thought. I think an improved secondary, and the return game has been pretty spectacular.
Yep. Playmakers from this year on last year's team, you are a 9-3 team. So
yeah. Oh man, I mean, more. Yeah, I mean, you certainly beat Auburn. You lost that on one play, and
your offense looks better against Texas. I know that defense.
No question about
your
it. No question about it. And first of all, you didn't even have Le'Veon.
Right.
You didn't have Le'Veon. You didn't have Burkhardt. You didn't have Nyblack, Concepcion, Craver. And there's a lot you didn't have that you have. And that didn't even count South Carolina, who it felt like they stomped you out in that one. But remember the key moment and what it was.
Right.
And imagine having 7-1 running around in that secondary making plays. Yep. Exciting. The offense is exciting, man. And what happens if you go up there and you put up some real points against Notre Dame?
Put 35 points on them.
Yeah. What if you
win 35-18, something like that?
Yeah. How much does that change? I mean, I think my instinct tells me it's going to be a fist fight. Not quite like last year's, but a fist fight.
Yeah.
And it's good. They need their toughness checked, and hopefully they answer the bell. And we're 3 games in. It's time. And then I love the bye week before Auburn. Win or lose. Win or lose, I'll go on record right now saying I love the bye week ahead of Auburn, because I think that when you get the bye week and a team coming into your place, I think does Auburn play? Do they play LSU the week before? No, I think they play Oklahoma. They play Oklahoma. You can check me, but I think they play Oklahoma the week before.
Got Oklahoma the week before.
So that's a pretty good setup, I think, for A&M, win or lose, but especially if the Aggies can pull it together, figure it out, go beat Notre Dame. Damn.
They got Auburn.
What an opportunity.
They got Oklahoma, A&M, and then Georgia, speaking of Auburn. So,
what an opportunity for the Aggies right here. So hopefully, again, they get through these nicks and bruises. I think in general, I'm just kind of like frazzled after seeing 10 and 60 go out and not come back, because they can win these games healthy. I don't think they do that. Reed's been too good through 2 games. Again, we're not putting him in New York City in December yet, but he's been too good through 2 games to where I really want to see him throwing the football to Concepcion, Craver, the other receivers and tight ends, and this running game get going. A&M should have a freaking chip on their shoulder going to Notre Dame. I think they need it. I want to see the Aggies go into that one like with the mindset of we're going to go up there and kick some bleep ass and beat these dudes' asses and come back to Texas. Like I want that week. I want that mindset all week with these guys, because if you're not feeling that type of way, then I don't know why you're playing. Because I promise you Notre Dame's doing that after losing that opener and not getting to line up and hit anybody this weekend. So it should be fun. It's one of the bigger non-conference. I'm trying to think. They're non-conference. The last time they did this, they got smacked around by Miami. Okay? And it's been way too long since the Aggies have beat a ranked team on the road out of conference, not in a bowl game. It's been way too long since they've beaten a top 10 team away. Texas A&M typically does not do this. Historically, going back to R.C. Slocum, they don't do this. 95, they went up to Colorado, got beat. When you're talking about non-conference road games, right? Historically, they have not done this. I don't know when the last time they beat a top 10 team on the road is. So in the non-conference, so it's time. This would be a massive win for the program. So we'll see.
Thank you, Billy.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, and thank you to everybody watching. Thanks to Academy Sports and Outdoors. We'll see you next time on TexAgs Live. Who? What? All right, whatever. We'll see.